reduce paperwork and administration of export and import. So you can see the amount of days, average days, required for export and for import. It was huge, and now we reduce it quite significantly, but we want to reduce it even more. And the outcome not only from those measures, but from others also, is that international trade increased during the last 4 years more than 300%. And Georgia is now not only importing for Georgians' needs, but sometimes there is quite significant amount of goods imported into Georgia and then re-exported to neighboring countries. So the one of the biggest obstacles was the tax code, tax regulation. We have a huge amount of taxes. You can see here we have 22 taxes. Yeah. Now we have 6 taxes: personal income, or corporate profit, VAT, property, customs tax, which I mentioned before, and excise tax. For example, the average wage taxation based on 2 taxes, it was income tax, which was progressive, and social tax, which actually means that in countries where there is no big capital incomes, you are taxing income by these 2 taxes, actually. And it happens in all countries. And when you see that there is some countries which has very low income tax, you should ask what's their social tax or wage tax. And at the end of the day, you'll find that it's quite high. For example, Russia has 13% personal income tax, but there is additional what's called unified social tax, which is regressive, but for low-income workers, it's taxing more than 30% of their income. So we reduce this the wage taxation, which was around 40 due to progressive nature, some different, to 27% in 2005 and to 25% now, and we are planning to have 24% next year and go to 15% personal income tax, which would be the only tax applied to wages or incomes to year 2014. So we make tax amnesty for any tax evasion done before year 2004, and it helps to clean huge amount of bad legacy. Also, we make some new amendments. There is no income tax for capital market incomes, and no income tax for overseas personal incomes, which I think is very important for Americans, because Americans are taxed for any foreign income. And the factual tax revenues, which are adjusted to inflation, so it means in real terms, increased 80% between year 2005 to year 2007. And I think that we'll have more increase this year, a little bit. So that's the same as a chart. So the licensing, actually, there is an idea somewhere born, I don't know, in Germany or where, that the normal person cannot conduct activity without having special license. And there was huge amount of licenses. And that's unfortunately usual for many countries. And we reduce the number of licenses 85%, so we have now 6 times less licenses than we have licensing permits we have before. And we simplify the licensing, and I think that we can this year make another movement, another big leap, and reduce maybe twice or 3 times. And it was one-stop shop licensing, and silencing consent rule, which means that if you apply for license and you get no answers, that means that you are approved. For example, what it means for construction permits, that we reduce a number of steps from 29 to 17, and from May there is effective regulation which is reducing in 2 steps less, so it will be 15 steps. So it means that days for putting new commercial construction into use is two times less, and the building permit regulation is not the best globally, but close to what, for example, there is in Hong Kong. And we hope that we can make it easier. There is one thing which, I mean, it's here because it's about licensing, but it's about other things. It's about natural resources. The continental approach to natural resources, continental European approach, is that natural resources belongs to country, and you just can be licensed to use those resources. That's the idea which I don't like. But there is 2 different approaches to either in the framework of this. One is to have this as a personal gift, personal grant that you are granted to for example, for fishery, you are granted to for logging here. And another is which we implement, the idea of tradable licenses, tradable and dividable licenses, and which are auctioned, and so it means that they are more like to property rights, real property rights, than these continental style licenses. And of course, I think that the property rights and the property procedures are very important for any country, and for developing country much more. So we simplify property registration procedures, and now it takes 2 days to register property, to change ownership, to change title. The very big leap was the business registration changes. You should go to court and be registered as a legal person, then go to tax department and be registered as taxpayer. It takes 30 days good result. Really, in reality, it takes maybe 2 months. So we have 3 improvements, 3 steps, and from May 10th now we have a procedure which is taking 1 day for business registration. It means that actually it's taking half an hour, but I mean, if measuring days, you're going to tax office, making a standard application, and getting your taxpayer's number, and that's all. And we are registering up to 5,000 new businesses a month. 5,000 new businesses, 60,000 a year. 60,000 businesses a year is quite a big for 4 million citizen country, 4.5. And also we reduce requirements of paid-in capital, and then we abolish it. So now it's extremely easy. So one of the most controversial part of our reforms was labor reform. Why controversial? And maybe it's very difficult to explain in the United States because the United States has no labor code on that classic understanding, no bunch of rules dictating how you can hire someone or fire someone, or how I can be hired or fired. And that's the difference between practically all other countries, especially in Europe, where the contractual agreements between employer and employee is practically not allowed. Yeah. And why it was very controversial, not because of the result of how it was done, because there is now huge pressure from European trade unions to reverse the situation. International Labour Organization is pressing European Union to withdraw GSP plus system, which means